Hi, everyone, and welcome. I'm Catherine Corley with the Arkansas Small Business and Technology Development Center. Today, we're here to share with you hacks about starting your own business. If you have ever dreamed about or been curious about entrepreneurship, you're in the right place. I will share with you some basic approaches to starting your business, as well as many resources that are available to you to help you get started. And because there's no one clear path to entrepreneurship, I am delighted to be joined by two women entrepreneurs, Amanda Earhart, co-founder and CEO of Pushkin, and Caitlin Cherry, co-founder and chief technical officer of Coda Health, to share their journeys. We look forward to joining you afterwards for a live Q&A session. So get your questions ready and feel free to post them in the chat as we go along the way. Now let's get started. First, let me tell you a little bit about SBDC. We're located in Fayetteville as part of the U of A system. We also have an office in Bentonville. Our center serves 6 counties, highlighted in red. We are part of a statewide network that serves all counties in the state of Arkansas. SBDC offers one-on-one confidential consultation in the areas of business planning, strategy, financial projections, identifying sources of capital and preparation of proposals and loan packaging, marketing and digital media, human resources, and other business needs. SBDC is able to offer our services at no cost to our clients through the funding we receive from the University of Arkansas, the Small Business Administration, and other granting agencies. Every day, the Arkansas Small Business and Technology Development Center helps Arkansans take ideas and turn them into businesses. We love assisting homegrown entrepreneurs as they follow their dreams and in turn build the state's economy. Some of these are short-term and project-based, others are long-term, ongoing relationships with companies. Our clients include people who are starting new businesses from scratch, clients who are buying established businesses or looking to expand their existing business, or commercializing their research or new technology. Part of my role is to work with entrepreneurs in the last category, many of whom are seeking funding through state and federal channels or licensing, royalties, and private investment. We specialize in assisting clients who want to pursue federal SBIR and STTR, Small Business Innovation Research, contracts and grants. To keep our services at no cost, we track the impact we have on Arkansas's economy. In the Fayetteville Center, in 2021, we had over 1,300 new clients, in addition to our existing clients, and spent over 3,000 hours in one-on-one consulting and work on our clients' behalf. We help our clients access over $35 million in capital, and we developed a new financial boot camp to address an area many small businesses and startups struggle with. We had 28 graduates and continue to offer these boot camps online and in person. In addition, we offer webinars, both virtual and in person, on a range of topics with many valuable how-to courses in marketing, finance, HR, and other topics, along with how to start a business in Arkansas. An archive of these recorded sessions can be accessed on our website. So, not to oversimplify it, but starting your business can be boiled down into a few key steps. First, you must have a valid business idea, along with a detailed plan on how to execute it. This will not only help organize and guide your efforts, it will also give your business legitimacy in front of potential investors, customers, partners, and others. Second, you need to finance your business, and we'll talk about some various different options to consider. Finally, you need to formalize your business entity. A business is not required to incorporate or to form a limited liability company, an LLC, but it is a good idea to. This involves contacting the Arkansas Secretary of State's office, which you can do online, and a one-time $50 filing fee is required to incorporate or to form an LLC. Afterwards, you will pay an annual franchise fee minimum of $150 per year. Additionally, businesses must meet different requirements set by the city, county, state, and federal governments. This does involve time, fees, and red tape to obtain licenses and permits and figure out tax requirements. So I don't want to gloss over that important piece of starting your business. One of the most essential things that you must do is to write a business plan. This can take the form of a 100-page document, probably similar to what you've seen or been part of in your corporate environment, or it can be a one-page lean canvas, and there's many other iterations. The form is not as important as what it contains. A clear understanding of the market, who your customers are, and what problem you're solving for them, who your competitors are, and how what you offer is differentiated from them. This is often referred to as product market fit. Customer discovery is also a key component of a successful business. If you did not attend the session today on Lean Canvas and customer discovery, I suggest you watch it later. Market insights on the industry, customers, and competitors should help inform your plan. SBDC offers market research to clients through subscription to 10 proprietary databases. You will include your products and services, pricing, operational, and go-to-market strategies in your business plan, and of course, your financial projections. So let's talk about money and getting financing. Getting the initial investment to start your business can be the biggest challenge for entrepreneurs and small business owners. Here you see a range of financing options, starting with the most common means, which is bootstrapping, financing it out of your own personal funds or through starting your business and selling your product or service, and then plowing those proceeds back into the business rather than taking a salary. And the options range from risky to less risky for the investor, diluted to non-dilutive for the owner, as well as the size of the amount of funding required and associated cost of capital. Again, this is something that's different for probably every business, and you've got to find the right fit for you. We'll dive into this further as we hear from Amanda and Caitlin. Finally, a bright message of hope. You are not alone. Arkansas has a robust ecosystem of support for entrepreneurs across the state. These organizations can assist you with business planning and strategy, sales and marketing, customer discovery, research and development, working space, and other services such as legal. Some can provide startup funding and can also help introduce you to investors and mentors. This list is by no means exhaustive, but gives you an idea of the many resources and support you have at little to no cost to you. We'll hear more from Amanda and Caitlin on some of the support they have received in their paths to entrepreneurship. Here is my contact information. Please don't hesitate to reach out, and do go to our website at sbtdcur.edu to access valuable tools, resources, webinars, and check on events that are upcoming. You can also sign up for free one-on-one consultation at our website. And now let's turn to our panel today. Hi, Amanda. Hi, Caitlin. Amanda, let's start with you. And would you please introduce yourself and tell us about you? You have come from an impressive background of tech companies, eBay and Facebook. Tell us about your path to entrepreneurship.
Thanks, Catherine. I'm really excited to be here with you all and really looking forward to the live Q&A that'll shortly follow. Yes, my name's Amanda Earhart. I started out in Southern California as a Valley girl, like, oh my God, and then quickly moved to Northern California to become a banana slug at UC Santa Cruz. and was one of 3 software engineers in my program. The fortunate part of all of that was the proximity to Silicon Valley. I was just over the hill. They call it Highway 17. And I got the opportunity to be an intern at eBay during my college tenureship. When I started as an intern, the very first day was when eBay IPO'd. And I don't know if y'all were around then, but that day is when they crashed. Their internet completely tanked with all the news and publicity. So they pretty much put us in a closet, all of us interns, and said, we can't talk to you for the next 24, 48 hours. We got to get the site up and running. If you can figure out things to do, go do it. And that was my first foray into real entrepreneurship for myself, because I didn't know what to do, but I knew I wanted to be helpful. I knew I wanted to be part of the solution that was plaguing all the peers around me. Well, fast forward, I was there about 10 years. I moved around from software engineering to managing the team that I had started out on as I transitioned to full-time. I was able to help in so many different areas of the company. I really grew up there, did software engineering, product management, program management, developer operations, and found that my real passion was in solving problems and applying my talents to the issues at hand. But I also kept a keen eye out for who I really enjoyed working with and who I enjoyed working for. And to that end, I followed my favorite manager, Ellen Silver, over to Facebook. At the time, things had been going so well at eBay. My parents were like, you cannot leave eBay. It's great. And Facebook, like, it's the MySpace. Why would you go work for MySpace? It was in early 2008. They were pre-IPO. And I took that leap of faith because I trusted in Ellen and she trusted in me. And I was very excited to take that leap of faith. Again, pre-IPO, I was there for about 10 years. Again, got to do many things within the company, solving multiple problems across advertising, across payments, across developers. And I really enjoyed taking a step back from time to time and really assessing, am I still passionate about these particular areas? And when I wasn't, and I feel like I had optimized, I decided to take the next leap of faith. And at one point during that tenure, I was in the payments org and I'd optimized fraud rates down to below 3%. So credit card companies weren't going to put us into programs, and felt like things were going well. There weren't other opportunities I was seeing across the company. And so I decided, hey, I'm going to do a side hustle. I'm going to open a company. I'm going to bootstrap it myself. I'm going to work with some India developers, and I'm going to build what I thought eBay should have been building, which is more niche online commerce sites where you could find your favorite toys, books, movies from your childhood, kind of like a time capsule. And everyone I had talked to who were friends were like, that's a great idea. Parents, that's a great idea. Go do it, but don't leave Facebook. So I did it as a side hustle. I built with the development team the vision, the product. We launched it on Thanksgiving. So it was timed for Christmas. I was so excited. It was one of those satisfying moments. You're like, this is real. I produced something I can share with friends and family. They were all super excited for me. And then crickets. Nothing happened. I was like, okay, well, let me just give it time. Well, I'll tell you more about that later, but essentially that was my first foray into being an entrepreneur. And I knew that there were challenges there. And so again, as I mentioned, I stepped back from time to time to think about what my next move might be. And in 2018, we decided we needed a real change. I wanted to move away from the coast. I wanted to be closer to family. I wanted to understand what the University of Arkansas had to offer. So I went back to school and I got my entrepreneurship degree, my EMBA. And after that, landed this really cool role that I'm in right now. And now I'm the CEO of Pushkin. And my other endeavor has folded for good reasons, but we can go into those later. So I'm excited to be here with you all. And there's so much more to talk about, but I'll turn it over back to Catherine.
Very intriguing, and we can't wait to hear more, Amanda. Caitlin, you have a very different journey. You bypassed the corporate world and blazed a trail into tech entrepreneurship. So tell us about you and your path to entrepreneurship.
Yeah. Thanks for having us today. And Amanda, thanks for sharing your story. How interesting was that? Yeah, I have a bit of a winding path that has led me to Coda today. I've always been an entrepreneur at heart, I would say. My parents would agree. And whenever I was just 14, my dad quit his full-time job and opened up a UPS store franchise. And so I got to go through that whole experience of starting a company, all of the challenges with it. But it was a really amazing experience to see that and be a part of that with my family. And I was working every day with him. So I learned a lot about the challenges of being an entrepreneur from a young age. And then I went to University of Arkansas for undergrad, where I did biological engineering. And whenever I was in the program, I heard a speaker from Mako Surgical, actually Vance Clement, who's in the Arkansas community now with his own company, but he was working for Mako Surgical at the time. And he came and gave a talk about robotics and healthcare. And from that talk, I was like, I want to go work there. And it's a startup. I think that would be fun. And so I emailed him and said, how can I come work with you guys? And he said that they have an internship program. So I was able to get brought on for a summer as an intern down in South Florida with Mako Surgical. And whenever I was there, it was actually during my second internship in the summertime. Mako was bought by Stryker, which is one of the leading medical device companies. And so it was really interesting to watch that process of a startup, which they were a very large startup at that time, being bought by or being acquired by a massive company. And so I got to see that process, and it was really intriguing for me. And so after that, I did some other meandering paths. I did a Fulbright in Malaysia for a year. I'm always a risk taker. I was like, I'll come back to my career later. I can't miss that opportunity. And then after Malaysia with the Fulbright, I ended up working for a nonprofit for a year that helped refugees. And it was actually helping women become on their own entrepreneurs and start their own small businesses, which was a really rewarding experience for me to help them learn how to make a company. I was giving them financial lessons, and I was helping sell their products for them. It was handmade goods. And I was the only full-time employee for this nonprofit. So I was essentially running this small business and then helping these small businesses with the women. So it was not exactly tech entrepreneurship, but it helped me learn a lot about running a company and having many different stakeholders as a part of that. And then after the nonprofit, I felt the need to get back into tech. So I ended up working at Rice University for a few years in a translational clinical lab where we were doing clinical studies around the world with med devices that we wanted to get transferred into commercialization. And I was really excited about it because it had this entrepreneurial aim to it. But if anybody has been in academics, they know the challenges of translating actual research to commercialization. So I was getting a bit frustrated with that. And an opportunity came along in the Texas Medical Center with a program called Biodesign, where I ended up founding Coda Health from, which I can tell more about later. But all of that is just to say that my entrepreneurial journey has been a bit winding, and it hasn't always been tech related, but all of those different aspects have been really rewarding for me and have led me to become, I guess, better at my job today and to have that holistic approach to it. And it's also, I think, encouraging for others, I hope, to know that you don't have to be an expert in your field to jump into a startup idea, because there are so many parts to it, and probably what you know today and all the experiences that you've learned from your positions are going to be really helpful in whatever you want to pursue next. Yeah, so I'll hand it back to you, Catherine.
Caitlin, thank you. That's so interesting and fascinating to hear your winding road, and we'll hear a little bit more. You've got us very intrigued as well. Amanda, you know, for entrepreneurs, a lot of them learn a lot by failing, right? Risk taking and failing, and then you iterate and you have to get back up and do it again. And so that first business you were telling us about that you created on the side, you actually failed at that, didn't you? Why don't you tell us a little bit more about that, what you learned and what made you want to try again?
Yeah, it is part of my failure resume. And I love failure. I think failure is actually where you learn an incredible amount about what you're doing and how you respond to it as a leader. And I think those that are able to harness a failure as an optimistic way to propel where you're going to change and how you're going to evolve are really those that are the most successful. And I still have a long road ahead, but with this time capsule idea, I called it Trolix, also probably a really bad idea to call it Trolix. But essentially what I learned looking back on it after not gaining any product market fit or traction in the space is that there's a couple of things. One, you may have a really great idea, right? And people may validate that because they're your friends and family, and they may even say they're going to use it. And they're the first ones to be your biggest champions. And they are probably the ones that will play with it first. But if you're finding that you're not talking to anybody outside your inner circle, then you're really not validating that it's widely adoptable, that it's not validating that you understand what your addressable market is, that who it is you're actually trying to build this product for beyond yourself and your friends and family, which, okay, you may have hundreds of them, but I'm sure your goal is going to be thousands to millions. And so to get to that level of traction, I realized I need to spend a lot more time thinking through what is the market sizing? How do I reach these people and actually do the customer discovery and see what they want to see? Are they interested in going back and looking at their, old toys and books and movies? Are they willing to do it in a marketplace environment? Are they willing to spend money? And how much money are they willing to spend? Those are questions I did not put energy towards. I was so confident that you build it and they will come. They don't come. They do not come magically. There's strategy behind the ones that are successful. You may not see it, but there's true strategy. And again, it goes back to, how are you doing your product market fit analysis? Are you having 150 conversations at least? If it's a consumer play, if you're doing a business play, you can do less to get a better sense for what direction you're headed, which is what we're doing now with Pushkin. We're doing more business-centric work. But anyhow, I learned that. I also learned that you can't do it alone. I bootstrapped personally. I'd hired some recommended development teams from India who were great. However, I needed a team around me who complemented my skills. One that actually had done startup before and knew how to get the funding we needed and/or the visibility we needed, the traction we needed, the research we needed. I also need someone who could have complemented me on the sides that I wasn't great at. So I was tech and product focused. What does sales and marketing look like? What does financials and business analytics look like? And because I didn't have that well-rounded team to support me, I found that I was doing it all and therefore not doing anything outside of my comfort zone. And it was a side hustle. So when you spend time in a side hustle, it feels like what you do is spend time on the things you're good at. And those things are not going to be holistically what a company needs. So to that end, it was a failure. I learned a ton to what I was just mentioning. And I'm really excited that I'm able to have used those learnings in this next endeavor that we'll talk about later.
Thank you, Amanda. So that just kind of reaffirms the importance of customer discovery and of building the right team, having the right folks around you. Awesome. All right, Caitlin, tell us about how CODA was founded. We're interested to hear more.
Great, yeah. Yes, I can't echo Amanda's comments on customer discovery enough. It is so essential. And CODA was actually uniquely set up in a way that required customer discovery to happen. So as I alluded to earlier, CODA was founded out of the biodesign program, which is a really unique program, which there's programs being formed across the country now, I believe. But it was founded out of the Texas Medical Center, the biodesign program. They take 3 people from different but complementary backgrounds. So traditionally an engineer, a doctor, a physician, and a business person. And they put you on a team and say, form a healthcare startup. Here's a prototyping budget. Here's a salary for a year. Go at it and do customer discovery, learn about all the problems in healthcare. Also, here's an access badge to the Texas Medical Center so you can interview whoever you want within there to learn about the problems and then try to find a problem. So we got our badges and our scrubs and we set out in the Texas Medical Center. Just met these people. They were complete strangers beforehand. And we started interviewing people. We interviewed physicians from all different specialties, social workers, administrative staff, caseworkers. I think we ended up doing over 300 interviews during that time. It was like a 9-month period. And as we started going through it, we started filtering down the different needs that we were seeing. As y'all are probably not surprised, there are many problems in healthcare. So we were not limited by the needs, but we were beginning to filter down by, is this something that I'm passionate about? Is this something that I'm interested in? Could I see myself working on this like day and night if I needed to? Which is really important if you're going to form a startup or a small business around something. You have to have that driving passion. Because sometimes that's all that's going to be getting you through the long days. So as we did those interviews, we realized that advanced care planning was a overlooked need in healthcare. There were so many people in the ICUs and just getting admitted to hospital floors that had never had conversations about what was important to them and what kind of care they would want to have whenever this accident or illness were to occur. Ideally, you do this type of planning before the accident. You don't want to make a plan in the time of a crisis. And so as we were talking to caseworkers and physicians, they just said, we don't have a process to help people do advanced care planning, have these conversations, and to make advanced directives. So we said, okay, let's go for it. And that was how CODA Health got formed. It was just initially, essentially just a survey with questions about what's important to you and some videos, and people would answer those questions, and it would form an advanced directive at the end. And we were really fortunate to have a great clinician lead at the beginning that was passionate about this and let us get it into the hands of patients as well early on, so we could get feedback really early. And from there, CODA formed, and we were founded in March 18th, 2020. So right as COVID hit the world. And so that was really hard on us, and we were like, oh my gosh, should we still go with this? I don't know. We were all sent home. And then, but just as COVID continued to spread and became more evident throughout the states, people realized that how important advanced care planning was, and people are ending up they were ending up in the hospitals without ever having thought about this before. And so it actually made a stronger case for what we were doing. And so, yeah, we've been going since then. We're just about 2 years. Our birthday is next week.
Well, happy birthday. And I heard, again, the need for customer discovery, intense, 300 interviews. Wow. And a passion for your business to sustain you during the tough times. Thank you, Caitlin. Amanda, what are some hacks you learned from the first time as an entrepreneur to where you are today?
Yeah, some good hacks. Use your network to find other folks who might have an interest. So insofar as you have a tight group of friends and family who are supportive and invested in your success, ask for warm introductions all day to others within their network that you're not connected to. I have found warm introductions to be one of the best ways to open doors more quickly. And that'll be your goal. Open doors quickly to the right people that you need to be talking to. The other hack is I love LinkedIn. LinkedIn really is a great product that helps business owners connect with each other. And there are groups within LinkedIn that once you're a part of them, you can build community and promote your product where it makes sense. That said, what I would hesitate to encourage is to lead with product, lead with your company. When you are ready to do sales and your brain day in and day out is all about, let's land a deal, you need to step back and say, actually, this is about human connection. This is about building relationships. In the beginning, they're buying you and your company, the people in it, as much as they are the product, because you're early in your endeavor. And so they need to trust that you are taking them into consideration, them as a person, them as a business, and that you're willing to put the time and effort in to hear them and grow with them. So those would be the two hacks that I would say on the sales and growth side. The other hack that I highly recommend is, at the end of the day, to trust that the leadership that you're working with at school they really know what they're talking about. Sometimes people can come at it as, oh, they're academics, they're in the classroom all day, they don't know what it's like they don't really know what the industry looks like. They do. Everything that I've learned from anyone at the U of A has borne out exactly right when I have conversations with industry professionals. And the reason is they're top notch at knowing who in the industry is the movers and the groovers. They invite those people to the classroom to support your educational next steps. And when you're then out in the real world doing the business development work, you can continue to lean on those relationships and trust that those learnings are going to help you in your next milestone as you build out your company. So those would be the three that I highly recommend you consider. Back to you.
Terrific. And I have a whole lot of questions. I'm going to save a lot of them for the Q&A, but I do want to ask one more question to Caitlin, and this is all about financing. Caitlin, getting funds for a startup are always a challenge. Can you talk about your challenges in raising a pre-seed fund and how that led to a recently oversubscribed 3.5 million seed investment round that just closed for you?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, what a journey it has been for us. There are obviously many challenges whenever you're starting to raise funds. For us, raising our pre-seed round was just trying to gain credibility and that we were the best people to be doing this, because whenever you start off, especially for a venture funded startup, is the investors want to know that you're the best people for it. And they're fully aware that your product or your idea might be wrong. And they're really just investing in you at that time. So we were we're just having to build that credibility that we were the best people for it. But all of the customer discovery that we had done really strengthened our case for it. And from that, we made a lot of connections, and we grew our network a lot from the customer discovery interviews. And so actually for our pre-seed round, a lot of our angel investors were actually physicians, and many of them that we had spoken to, and they knew just how much of a pain point this was. And so they felt that there could be a better way. And so they were the ones that invested in us at the beginning. And so from raising that pre-seed round, we began to build out our product and continued to test that with patients. And we had a couple pilots in the beginning, which were really valuable. I think anytime you're building a product, just getting it in the hands of users is the best thing you can do. Even if you're not proud of it and you know that there are lots of bugs with it, you need to do that, because they're going to use it in ways that you don't expect. And so it's better to get that feedback earlier, which is challenging to do, especially for me, as I would say, I tend to be a perfectionist. So it's hard to do, but as Coda has grown, I've just really seen how important it is to do that. So after we raised our pre-seed round, we used those funds to just test our product that we were building with patients and those pilots. And then we began raising our seed round. And in between there, with the pre-seed and seed round, we did a couple accelerators, which were really helpful for us. We did Techstars United Healthcare, which gave us access to many United Healthcare employees and mentors and advisors, which were so essential for us to understand the market and the business, the financial side behind what we were trying to build. I can't stress enough finding those mentors and advisors early on. I know U of A has a large network, and really just lean into that, because they know what they're talking about and they've seen the challenges. So it's great to learn from people like that. And we did another accelerator, Lighthouse Labs, which was also a really great experience for us. And we just continued to test and build validating our product, and that there was a need for it. And during that time, we also had a pilot transferred to a customer contract, which was really great for us to show that there was that business case. And then we got an NSF STTR grant as well to continue building the product and testing from there. So all of those things helped us going into our seed round, where we were raising $3.5 million. And then, so from that, we were able to build this stronger case to raise more funds and to grow out our sales and marketing team, which was a primary focus of the seed round. We haven't completely found product market fit, I would say, but we do have some customers and we have a product. And so we need some extra sales and marketing help to get that out to the people. And yeah, it's certainly challenging meeting with investors, learning the language of it. I can't recommend Venture Deals by Brad Feld enough. It's really lays out a lot of what you need to know for venture-backed funding. If you're doing a small business, there's a lot of other paths that you could take for that. But if you're looking into a venture-backed startup, Venture Deals is really helpful to learn and read. Yeah.
Okay, great. Well, if we can have our full panel back, this has been a fascinating discussion, and I've been hogging all the Q&A. So let's open it up now to hear questions from our audience.